And welcome back, guys, to another episode of Let's Play Katawa Shoujo. In the last part, we hung out with Lily and Hanako in their little hovel away from everybody else, and it was nice and pleasant. And we were even sort of talking to our teacher, and now Misha. We just got Misha, so... Or she probably doesn't know we're here, technically. Teacher! Misha crashes in, hands straight, in an enthusiastic greeting, her voice loud and lively enough to wake the dead from their graves. She starts towards the teacher's desk with her bouncing step, handing energetically swinging with the rhythm. Muto, visibly dismayed at the interruption, and Misha in general, slumps in his chair. Mikado? Misha stops in her tracks and looks around cluelessly as she's sensing from his tone that something's wrong but has no idea what. Yes? We have to talk about volume control. We have talked about volume control before. Yes! But she doesn't lower her voice at all, and the teacher just rubs his eyes. So, what is it? We need help. We're running out of supplies for our festival stands. This is a distress. She waves a pink slip of paper she's holding around. So, go get more supplies from the art room. What's the problem with that? Plywood. Plywood is always the problem. Last time we wanted more, there was only a little, but that time we just took it all and went with that. Now there's like none left there, so we don't know where there is some? So you know where there is some?
I don't understand. Why would I know?
Shi-chan, I mean, the president thought that a teacher would know if there was plywood. Was she wrong?
Muto looks like he is in great pain, frowning with his entire essence, and Misha doesn't get it at all. Looking at the two of them communicate is terrible, like looking at a man being tortured by drilling his skull open while blasting pop music at full volume at the same time. Jesus! Is she really that annoying? Like, I'm not doing her justice then, if that's the... I mean, he is an adult, so maybe like that sort of nature, that high energy nature is kind of annoying, but I don't know. I'm afraid I have no idea if there's any plywood in the school, let alone where it would be if there were any.
Aw, what should I do?
Or perhaps try to find Mr. Nomiya. I'm quite sure he knows where to find everything you need. You'd have to pry them from his cold, dead hands, but that's a different matter.
I don't have time. We're so busy.
She holds her head with both her hands, looking as despairing as possible for a person like her. Without even noticing, she crumples the note she's holding against her head.
I shouldn't even be fetching these things. There's so much to do, and we're falling behind schedule.
Muto looks at her gravely and then suddenly smiles. Smiling doesn't really fit his face. I think it'd be better if he didn't. I wonder if you could get some temporary help. No, I'm not getting roped in this. No. I guess we have to meet Rin. So yeah, no, we're gonna get roped into this. He switches to staring at me focusedly with a hard expression, as if trying to say, go make some friends. I guess I could give you a hand.
You can? Thanks, Ichan. You are really nice.
She pauses, does a double take, and then points at me with her fingers, yelling, "Ah!" and looks very puzzled.
Come to think of it, what's Ichan doing here? Class is over. You should be having fun.
We just had a little chat.
Oh no! It's not detention, is it? Are you in trouble, Ichan?
No, I'm not.
Is Ichan in trouble, teacher?
No, he's not. Muto sighs deeply, and I feel like I have to help Misha to get her off the teacher's back. So, what do you need?
Here's a list. I can try and find the plywood from somewhere if there's none in the art room.
She offers me the note she's holding. I take it, hesitating a bit. I said I'd help, but this has no implication on whether I'm joining the council or not.
Aww. Still, thanks, Ichan. Try to be quick. We are in stall building streak now. We must hurry. She bounces out of the classroom, leaving me and the teacher looking at each other with something that feels like a silent agreement. Well, there you have it, Nakai. You have something to do now. Please don't sound so smug. Looking at the list with a number of items ranging from paint to plywood, all written with small, neat handwriting that is undoubtedly Shizune's, I heave a sigh. I'll be going then. Waving the long list limply at the teacher, I exit to the hallway. The classrooms closest to ours are designated belonging to 3-1 and 3-2 on the right side and 3-4 on the left side, each door looking exactly the same. Further down the corridor, still with identical doors, are rooms that I didn't think were used for classrooms. I guess the art room is not a classroom as such. I carefully push open the furthest door and peek in. It's a classroom, but it seems rather badly kept or not in use. Am I in the right place? Desks and chairs are all around the room, a thin layer of dust settled on them. There's some easels in the corner, or at least this looks like the right place. The room is flushed in sunlight from the big window, shadows creeping all over the desk. Specks of dust are dancing in the stagnant air, making the beams of light almost visible. Jokingly, I call into the empty room. Anyone home? Something catches my eye and I stop mid-sentence. Hey, there she is. Good old Red. Actually, I want to take a moment, and I haven't actually pointed this out, but the music in this game is really, really good. Like that piano track that just sort of like started playing is, I was just like, oh, I was taken aback by it. I'm like, oh yes, this music is so good. I'm so silly sometimes. Anyway, sitting on a desk is a short-haired girl, curiously wearing a boy's uniform with a fork between her toes, a morsel of food stuck firmly on the end. This odd way of dining seems to be caused by her apparent lack of hands. But her presence here is what takes me aback even more. How did I miss her before? She's sitting in the corner, very still, and I still somehow took her as part of the furnishing or a statue at first glance. I'm not being too observant today as a whole. The girl seems to be frozen in place, staring at me with her huge eyes like a rabbit in headlights. She's staring at me, her mouth wide open, ready to accept the fork. I'm staring at her, my mouth wide open, suddenly remembering I didn't finish my sentence, trying to think if I should. This weird stalemate keeps us both stunned into silence, punctuated only by the wall clock ticking rhythmically. Hello? The girl stuffs the fork full in her mouth and is now staring at me expectantly while chewing. This is a bit awkward. Hello. I was told to pick up some supplies from here. For some festival stalls, I think? I didn't think there would be someone here. There isn't. That's why I came here, too. She picked up another forkful. Doesn't that mean that you're here, then? She raises her eyebrows as she was suspecting my observation was false. You're pretty observant. I guess it does. But who are you? This girl is pretty straightforward, isn't she? I'm Nakai, Hasao Nakai. I just transferred in on Monday. I'm Rin. Tezuka Rin. Rin Tezuka. I won't shake hands with you, but at least we know who we are now. It's very nice. Her deadpan manner of talking makes it hard to determine whether she's joking about shaking hands or not. It's kind of bothering me. It kind of bothers me. Joking about these matters doesn't feel appropriate at all. I'm trying to figure out what's appropriate, whether this girl is. She seems to have lost interest in me and is now gazing yearningly back at her food. Can I continue my lunch? If you don't mind, I won't mind you. If you need to get your stuff, the supplies are at the back. Go right ahead, but lunch? School's already over for the day. What word would you use then? There's no word for a meal you eat after lunch, but before dinner, right? Bothers me so much too, but I don't really know what I would say. Well, wouldn't it technically be like lupper? Or linner? Or like dunch? I don't know. Dunch. It's a terrible word. that makes me go, ugh. If that makes any sense. I don't think you're supposed to eat meals between lunch and dinner to begin with. But I'm hungry now, and my delicious boxed lunch would go to waste otherwise.
I have curry. It's very delicious.
With much decisiveness, Rin once again picks up the fork between her toes with at least as much impoliteness. She points it straight at me.
So, Nakai, what brings you to this place?
Like I said, I was told to look for things.
No, the school. From outside, you look fine. Is your problem inside?
I come to a full stop, opening my mouth, but not getting a word out.
I could guess. I'm good at guessing. Better than most people.
Rin cuts me off before I can answer her question. Or skirt around it somehow. I don't know which I would have done. I froze in front of this issue again. Excuse me. I haven't even told anyone here about my condition, or maybe it's only because it hasn't really come up. Well, no, that's not true. That's not true. It has come up. But you dodged the question that last time. I do get the feeling that not making issues of this is a part of the social code here, as the teacher said. I wonder if the people here could relate. Probably not any better than any normal person could. I can't relate to Suzune's circumstances, or Lily's either. Naturally, while I go through this in my head, Rin keeps considering what my condition could be, with an overtly contemplative look on her face. She puts her fork between her lips and then leans back, looking at the ceiling as she answers as if the answers were written up there. A beam of light illuminating her face from the window side, creating a mask of dark shadows on the other side. I don't think it's anything in your head, or something in your guts would be boring or boringly ordinary, like this lunch of mine, and less delicious. The problem must be in your pants. This messed up Sherlock Holmes kind of statement, at the sheer lack of tact it was delivered with, catches me completely off guard. I think I might have reeled back, even physically, as Rin's eyes widened in revelation and astonishment.
So I was right. There's something wrong with your tackle, isn't there?
She's partially in shock, but recognizing the need to reply something, I spit out the first thing that I could think of. No, nothing like that. I have a heart problem, arrhythmia. I said it. More like blurted it out, but I said it. The girl in front of me purses her lips together and glowers at me, looking very disappointed.
How boring. Trouble in the pants would have been much more scandalous.
What's with this reaction? I'm sorry to let you down?
I forgive you. Just, I collect people and persons with, that kind of problem would have been really great.
Collect people?
People with different problems.
Huh. So you just, go around asking people what's wrong with them?
Pretty much.
I see. With little left to say, Rin resumes her lunch, and the conversation dies away, but I keep thinking about what was said. It's the first time I told anyone else about my condition. All the other people have either known about it already or heard about it from someone else, or didn't need to know about it, like every other student here so far. Should I have told it as a natural part of introduction? Is it expected of me? Hi, I'm Hisao. I have a serious heart condition. Is that how I'm supposed to go around introducing myself from now on? As for our disability, as if our disabilities would define us? What a disgusting thought. Or maybe this Tezuka girl just has an unnatural interest in such things. As I walk to the back of the room and pick up the items on Misha's list, a chance opens to study Rin from the corner of my eye. Her hair is a burnt auburn, almost orange and cropped short. Long hair would probably be impossible with no arms. The boy's uniform and the lack of arms makes her look very thin, almost scrawny. She is not particularly pretty except for her murky green eyes, which flicker restlessly from below her short bangs, even when she's neat. Even when she eats, not even when she's neat. Good job, me. The distance of the shadows make it seem like they don't reflect sunlight at all, but instead absorb all of it within them like deep wells. She moves her feet almost as deftly as a normal person would use their arms. However, I can see how this sight could discomfort people, especially while eating. It makes me feel a bit uncomfortable, at least. I hesitate to think about the word unnatural, but it's too late now, isn't it? I keep searching the cabins and shelves for Misha's things, but after enough time passes, the silence grows too uncomfortable, so I try to force some conversation out of this strange girl. So, do you always eat alone and this late, or do you get the occasional visitor? Visitors? What makes... Maybe you are my first occasional visitor, but I don't always eat alone either. Sometimes I eat with a certain person on the roof, if she's not horsing around. Horsing? She likes to do sports. Oh. And that's all I think. That's all I can think of to say. Both of us fall silent again, and Rin forks the last few bites of her meal in her mouth. I look down at my haul and double-check it with Misha's list. It seems I have everything except plywood. So I think I have all the things now. That's very nice for you. Don't feel obliged to stay. I was about to take a nap anyway. You need to do whatever you're going to do with that stuff anyway, right? Or perhaps you like to watch girls sleeping? I'm not sure what to make of this, but Rin looks serious. Even if I did, I think I have to be going. I'll catch you around, Tezuka. You can call me Rin. I feel that our relationship is at the point good enough to warrant this much. I was already turning to make my exit, but she draws me back in. Fine, I'm a sow. Then you are. Rin looks at me hard in the eyes, but that intimidating feeling you get when someone stares at you isn't there. It's like she's actually not looking at me at all. She blinks a couple of times, and I can't figure out why a pause like this just popped between us out of nowhere. See you later, Hisao. There is something like a tiny smile there in her face. Maybe. I quietly back out of the room as I shut the door in front of my face. I whisper to myself, what an intriguing person. From outside, I hear a muffled sing-song voice. I heard that. What did she hear? I jumped at the sudden appearance of Misha, who I had not heard approaching despite the completely empty hallway. Somehow she had gotten to jumping distance of me without making a sound. Creepy. It briefly reminds me of Kenji's nutty theory about a global feminist conspiracy, but I push the thought aside. Shizune, standing slightly behind Misha, looks aloof as she couldn't have heard the remark that drew Misha's attention, but Misha is visibly excited. No, wait, more importantly, who is in there? There's no club meeting today. She tries to curiously peek past me, even though the door prevents her from seeing anyway. What are you doing here? You took so long that we had to come back to check what's wrong. That's no good, He-chan. She wags her finger at me scoldingly. I found plywood, but everything else is still missing because you are tardy. Oh, sorry. I got the things here. I was just going to bring them. I think you were up to some mischief, He-chan. Who was in there with you, I wonder? Misha signs something quickly to Shizune, pointing at her own ear a couple of times. Shizune immediately pushes her way past me and opens the door into the classroom I just left. I can only imagine the shock she is experiencing. With Shizune's diligence and attitude, the insolence of daring to deface school property by sleeping on top of it must be too much to bear. And indeed, she stares at Rin, frozen in place apart from the slight but noticeable trembling of her shoulders from suppressed rage, I'm sure. Instead of blowing up, Shizune just takes a few deep breaths, adjusts her glasses, and slams the door shut, turning to sign furiously at Misha. Maybe she did blow up, but I can't understand it. She shoots a very loaded stare at me too, as if it was somehow my fault that Rin is sleeping on one of the tables. I hope she's not getting any funny ideas about the reason of my tardiness. Hello. Rin's voice comes from the other side of the door, and it takes a few eye blinks to realize that she might have trouble opening it. I open the door to find Rin directly behind it, looking at us with half-interested, half-sleepy face. Hello. Miss Tezuka, what do you think you were doing?
You absolutely are not permitted to use school property for such, disgraceful activity.
It sure is suddenly very crowded in here. I didn't know I was this popular. It's hard to say whether she's happy or unhappy about this turn of events. At any rate, she ignores Shizune and Misha's scolding, so they have no choice but to drop the issue. Shizune taps Misha's shoulder, pointing at Rin, and makes some quick signs.
Popularity aside, please don't do that anymore. Anyway, how's your project going? Will it be done for the festival?
Rin looks at them blankly, apparently at ease under the pressure Shizune's cold stare is putting on her. I kept wondering about that myself too.
And?
We'll think about it harder. As Misha signs her reply to Shizune, her face turns into an unsatisfied frown.
Miss Tezuka, please try to take this seriously. It'll be a disaster if the wall looks like someone threw up their lunch onto it.
Rin nods assertively. We'll think more seriously. Misha actually giggles at that, but Shizune doesn't. Not even after translation. She just shakes her head and takes the materials from me and takes off with Misha in tow. Alright, and I guess we'll continue this length of conversation in the next episodes. Take care, guys. Stay frosty, and I hope you have the rest of the day good. I think I butchered that. Yeah, I butchered that.